Okay.
There should be. You have a line of New Testament scriptures, and I think it speaks about Paul.
Yeah.
It's going to use a different word, but it's the same Greek word for vagabond.
Okay. I don't know. Acts 28 and 13, and from thence we fetched a compass and came to Regium.
That's Paul speaking, right?
Yeah, but I don't see the word vagabond.
The word is compass. In other words, you
Okay.
got to go to the Greek, the numbering. Because sometimes it's called vagabond, sometimes it's called compass.
And right, indeed, it has the same.
It's the same word.
Greek word. Yeah.
All right.
Right.
So go back, and read that verse again. That Paul made that statement.
Okay. Okay. Acts 28 and 13, and from thence we fetched a compass. And
The word compass is for that Greek word that the elder just read, which is the same as the vagabond Jews. You could have put the word and the compass Jews.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
We fetched a compass.
Or wandering. Go ahead.
And came to Regium, and after one day the south wind blew, and we came the next day to Puteoli.
That's showing you that Paul was traveling. So according to that definition, the Apostle Paul would be a vagabond. Did that make the Apostle Paul a bum?
I got one more.
You're
for
a
you.
damn idiot, Nate.
Yeah.
And you got those monkeys in a chimpanzee ranting, man. That's like a scene out of the Planet of the Apes, man. You guys are on one stuck, stupid level, man. That's why you don't know all the scriptures. Because you've been faking it to these guys.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This is another example for you. 1 Timothy 5 and 13. And withal they learn to be idle, wandering, the same word, wandering about.
Vagabond, compass, wandering. Go ahead.
Wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, another connotation, but tattlers also, and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not.
So they were going from one house to another. They were wandering.
They were wandering. Yep.
I got one more for you. Hebrews 11 and 37. They were sawn, they were stoned, they were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain. Talking about the prophets.
Yep.
With the sword, they wandered about in sheepskins.
They wandered. The prophets wandered about in sheepskins. All right. The word there is the same word, vagabond. They wandered about. So did that make the prophets bums? You're a goddamn idiot, Nate. You're a damn idiot. Go ahead.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 28, verse 16. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. Judgment also will I lay.
And GMS is the sure foundation because we know all the scriptures, man. Ariel taught broke down a lot of scriptures, but he didn't break down all the scriptures, man. And the Most High put the spirit on us to go into all the scriptures, which none of you other camps can't do. Go ahead.
Judgment also will I lay to the blind, and righteousness to the plummet, and the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the waters shall overflow the hiding place. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled. That's your 501c3 charter. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then you shall be trodden down by it. From the time that it goeth forth, it shall take you. For morning by morning shall it pass over, by day and by night. And it shall be a vexation only to understand the report. For the bed is shorter than that a man can stretch himself on it, and the covering narrower than he can wrap himself in it.
Okay, so now let's go back to where we were reading about this so-called Jew, Senator.
We can thank, although Johnson proffered this as a favor to churches, the favor also came with strings attached, more like shackles. One need not look far to see the devastating effects of 501c3 acceptance has had to the church. and the consequent restrictions placed upon any 501c3 church. 501c3 churches are prohibited from addressing in any tangible way the vital issues of the day. For a 501c3 church to openly speak out or organize in opposition to anything that the government declares legal, even if it is immoral, example given, abortion, homosexuality, etc., that church will jeopardize its tax-exempt status. The 501c3 has had a chilling effect upon the free speech rights of the church. LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, was a shrewd and cunning politician who seemed to well appreciate how easily many of the clergy would sell out. Did the church ever need to seek permission from the government to be exempt from taxes? Were churches prior to 1954 taxable? No. Churches have never been taxable. To be taxable, a church would first need to be under the jurisdiction and therefore under the taxing authority of the government. The First Amendment clearly places the church outside the jurisdiction of the civil government. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, nor prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
That means you can do whatever you want as long as you don't kill nobody in your church, you know?
That's right.
Or rape nobody in your church, or do nothing like that. In other words, you can do whatever you want to do in your church. Whatever your so-called religious beliefs are, you can do. And the Congress cannot interpret religious terms or biblical terms. That's where you get the term separation between church and state. That's why the word separation is there. That's it. All right? That's why there's a separation. Congress can't do nothing on top of telling a church what to do. That's right. Or a religious organization what to do. Go ahead.
That's right. Religion cannot be free if you have to pay the government through taxation if you have to pay the government through taxation to exercise it.
Now, in this case, the 501c3, as opposed to the other section of the 501 section in Title 26 of the United States Code, that's what it is. The IRS code is known as Title 26 of the United States Code. That's the code of the United States. That's why it's called that. All right. Now, when you go into it, it's what he just read was that you pay a tax to him. Well, you're applying for a tax exempt status, meaning whatever monies you get come into you can't pocket the money. You have to show records. You have to have the 5 board members, I think there is. You have to have a chairman of the board. You have to use Robert's minutes and all that nonsense. And you had to distribute the monies that you got from your followers to building a church, to building this, to building that. Now these super mega churches, what they do is they'll get stuff in the name of the church. They'll get a Learjet, but it's not in the name of Reverend Porkchop. It's in the name of the church. And what they do is they'll have different organizations talking about, we need your money to send food to Africa. And they might gather $10 million. And what they'll do is they'll go to the governor of that African country, and they'll say, look, we'll give you $1 million. No, we'll give you $1.5 million. $1 million for you, $500,000 to feed those little black Africans. But really, we're going to write it down like we gave you $10 million. So that's called a kickback. That's why there's a lot of corruption in the church, man. Yeah. They find loopholes to get around to get that money coming back. So that's all this guy is doing. Yeah. Go ahead.
This is from Wikipedia, First Amendment to the United States Constitution. And as you scroll down, it says, the First Amendment, Amendment 1 to the United States Constitution, prohibits the making of any law respecting an establishment of religion, impeding the free exercise of religion, abridging the freedom of speech.
That means they can check. You got to show your paperwork. You got to give them your paperwork to say, okay, we got X amount of money in. We took a percentage for the electric bill. We took another percentage because we're going to build this building. We took another percentage to help the poor of our church. So you got to supply the records to the government. And that's Congress.
Yeah.
Because like I said, the 501c3 comes from Title 26, United States Code,